Nintendo has to do something about their NPCs. So we're talking about Zelda. There's lots of great parts with voice acting, and I was so happy that there was voice acting finally in Zelda. And then you can see the screen fade out, and it comes back, and it's back to text. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I got to read that.
Yeah, that's something like they're I don't want to like go too much into it because I feel like we're gonna have like this talk and debate during the Game of the Year podcast in December.
Yeah.
But like they have some really cool characters in Tears of the Kingdom, and I feel like they don't fully utilize them and throughout the whole game, other than using their abilities, I don't care about them.
I mean, I could see that. I could see that. Yeah. That's fair. I think they built an incredible world, and the fact that they're not doing any story add-ons is like criminal. Especially they did a couple with Breath of the Wild, but this one it's like, man, you have this beautiful world that you've expanded upon. You should be building on it, and they're just like, nah. I think Nintendo is the ultimate contrarians. It's like whatever we want, they don't give us. And then when we don't want it, they give it to us.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going with that. Hey, how's everyone doing? Cutthroat Comics is here.
Gonna Cutthroat.
Ready to go. Let's do this. Hopefully you and Willie got some sleep. You guys are always on the go. Well, we're all busy, buddy. You're busy. Everyone's
like
busy. We're adults, right?
Man, to be on the internet, you have to be on the go all the time, nonstop.
Bat Stan is here. Good morning. Good to see you, brother.
Morning, Bat Stan.
WillyLo is here. Whoa. Whoa, you're really here. Matt Rubin.
Kick him out of here.
What's up, dude? How you doing? Good morning.
Morning, Matt.
Are we talking about the crow? No, never again. You got an hour out of me with that. I'm surprised I lasted that.
I missed that, but is that like a newer crow, or is like the original like PlayStation 1 crow?
PS1. So I had this idea of doing bad games Saturday, just trying different things.
I feel like you wouldn't last through that.
Well, I gave myself 2 hours. I lasted 1 hour.
Yeah. You don't have the tolerance to suffer through bad games. I'm just saying.
Not true. But this one, dude, you gotta, dude. I beat Wanda Gamelon.
Yeah, but there's a lot worse games. Wanda Gamelon is bad, but there are like really bad games.
So with the crow, it was the controls, man, they're so bad. That's what it was, really. That's what it came down to. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Morning Coffee. I am Jay. This is my buddy Willie, and we're gonna get to the intro. Then we're gonna get to some EGM number 6. All right, stay tuned. Oh, excuse me, guys. Sorry.
I'm awake now.
You know what? I really look forward to our Sundays, buddy. I just want you to know that. Everybody in the chat, WillyLo, I look forward to these Sundays. I like this is nice, chill, end of the week stuff. It's good to kick it back with EGM number 6. Now, the last one we ended with was 5. Okay. So the last one we ended with was 4. The reason we're not doing 5 is because 5 is a buyer's guide. So it's like a game of the year buyer's guide. So it's kind of like a greatest hits of everything we already went through. So I skipped that one.
That's fair.
Pains, good morning, buddy. How you doing? TJ is here. Good afternoon, sir. Good to see you.
TJ Baron.
TJC actually just started Instagram. So if you guys want to give him a follow on Insta, that would be great.
Who, TJC?
TJC, yeah.
Hold on.
TJC, I think it's TJC Toys and Gaming Memories. You can type it in there, dude. TJ, if you want. Cutthroat wants to come play in your arcade.
You got it, buddy. Come on over.
There you go.
We got a few of them. I was actually looking at the as dumb it is, but One Up Arcade has a Wheel of Fortune like slots one.
Slots. Oh, you
Yeah.
mean what do you mean like this?
Yeah, like an actual like virtual slot machine, and it has like 20 different games on it. Plus, it has like the slots version of Wheel of Fortune on it. It looks like it's just a big grandiose slot machine. I was like, that'd be kind of fun.
That's fun. I think that's fun.
I think it's a cool idea, like just to have
Yeah.
it there. I don't know.
Yeah, I was also thinking about what you said last week about the silent scope gun game. I would like one of those too. I think they would be a lot of fun just to have one, like a novelty.
EJC Toy Memories. I think that's it.
Batstan says perfect cover. Indeed. This is January 1990. We made it, Will. We made it to the 90s. Here we are.
Woo!
We say goodbye to the 80s.
We're back, baby.
And we are here. EGM Game of the Month is Batman by Sunsoft for the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Great game.
Free in this issue, which I don't know if it's in here or not, but we have Mega Play. Now, Mega Play was EGM's first sub magazine, and it was dedicated to the Mega Drive and the Genesis. It's actually dedicated to all things Sega. So that's pretty neat. The future of video games. First look at the new games and their systems. All right. Are you guys ready? Grab yourself a coffee, drink, whatever you're having. Let's sit by the fire, wherever that is, and let's go through this baby. Let's crack it open. Oh, boy. Good morning. Man,
I haven't thought about the Road Warriors in a long time.
Road Warriors. There's their name. I was thinking Acid Smash. I was thinking it was Demolition, but no, that's WWF.
Animal and
Hawk.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. There's the boys. I don't think I've ever played this FCI company. I don't remember much about. I don't remember any FCI games standing out. Maybe this is one of them. Not just kids stuff. Look at the bottom. There you go.
I feel like you'd remember that cover.
Oh, I remember it. I just don't remember playing it. Like the ad literally doesn't show any gameplay at all. That's not a good sign. No screens. Phantom Fighter. Another. So this is a FCI double spread. Legion of Doom. There you go. Thank you, Matt. Oh, baby. Look at this. Look at this goodness.
What is that? Is that like a prototype turbo?
Oh, dude. That is my grail. That is the NEC Super Graphics.
I've never seen that.
Yeah. It was only in Japan. There was plans to bring it here, but it never did come here. So Super Graphics has precisely 6 games in the library. And it's best known for its arcade perfect translation of Ghouls and Ghosts. This is why I wanted it back in the day. Doesn't it look like it either looks like something that would go in your car or some kind of transformer. It's pretty cool though.
It is pretty yeah. They definitely were going for like some kind of like cyberpunkish, like futuristic aesthetic.
Yeah. And we were talking about that on my game stream yesterday, I think it was Thursday, whenever it was, but like how one thing I loved about the 90s was the consoles, they were very toyetic. Like they looked, like they could be vehicles in G.I. Joe or Star Wars or something. Like they looked so different from one another. Or today, it's like, I'm looking at my Series X and it looks like a dehumidifier. Everyone's told that joke, but I guess PS5 is okay, I guess. But
PS5 looks like a modem.
The Switch is terrible. Like the Switch on the dock looks like, I don't know, man. It's bad. Mega Play, it might be in here. And then at the bottom, Hot Tricks. Well, we always love some Hot Tricks. Get the title that just might drive you crazy. Fester's Quest. You ever play this one? Sunsoft?
I've tried. The game is not very good.
No good?
I know I found it a struggle trying to play it when I was younger. I
I don't
just couldn't understand it.
I don't remember Fester's Quest. Oz, good morning, dude. How you doing?
Morning, guys. Yeah, see,
All
Matt
right.
says the same thing. PS5 looks like a modem router combo. That's exactly it. That's what it
It does.
reminds me of.
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at like some pretty cool things back there, right? Like the Super Nintendo, the 64, the first Genesis is always really sweet. Anyway, insert coin. This is the editorial from Steve, the head editor at EGM. All right, let's start off. The shape of games to come. Who's this little baby?
It's
Little Steven?
Steve Shea Harris, ready for action.
Oh my god, that's the guy who started Twitter. That joke never gets old. On August 11th, 1989, something wonderful happened in my life. No, I didn't finish a hot new game or blow away an old high score. The day was much more special than that. It was in the early hours of Friday morning, and I witnessed the birth of my first son, Stephen Shea. Needless to say, little Stephen wasn't exactly thrilled about being in this new world in the first few minutes, but both his dad went through a couple of pairs of Reeboks during the 22-hour wait in the delivery room, and his mom, who went through a couple of nurses during the same 22 hours, were quite relieved.
Hmm.
Being the editor at EGM, I think I've answered my own question, but how long do you think it was before this kid got a controller in his hands? And I don't count this picture. I mean, like before his dad was like, "Here, play this." 2,
I bet.
3.
Well, okay. If you want to get technical, this kid's already thrown into a picture surrounded by video games. So it just came out of the womb and Steven threw it at video games. It's like, here.
It's like, and I mean no disrespect to any fathers out there if you are this kind of father, but it's like those fathers I feel that sit their kids down in front of whatever IP is their favorite and make their kids watch it, and then they get annoyed when their kids don't like, Transformers from 1984. They'd rather watch the Michael Bay stuff. And the dad's like, no, this is the real Transformers, son. You got to watch that. Daddy, it's so old. It stinks. I think Steve might be doing a little bit of this here. I can't say for sure. So this was 90. So what is he, 20? No, 33 now. Oh my God. The kid's 33. Wait, am I right? 23, 33? It's 2023. This was 1990.
Yeah.
Well, do the math for me. 33? Yeah.
Yeah. 33. You were right.
33 years old. For the love of God.
Let's find him.
Skyfall.
You
Good morning,
think
my
we could
friend.
find him and bring him on the show?
Let's do it. Cheers to you. And I'm not going to lie to you, dude. I looked up Ed Simrad, our buddy Ed. I found him on Facebook.
Really?
I found him. Yeah. He was only tagged in photos, so I don't think he has his own account. But I found Ed. I was looking for him, man. I thought I was going to reach out and say, what the hell, man? What the hell? Why not? But I don't know. Ed, if you're listening, we love your reviews. We love your jaded, truth be told reviews. We want to get you on here. I would love to have Steve too, but moving on. Painfully funny. This game sucks.
Yeah, you were saying that last time. I never played this one.
The 3 screenshots, it's just a bunch of mini games, right? But the 3 screenshots, particularly the one with Curly there, when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, like Nintendo is kicking butt with graphics.
Mm-hmm.
That's just think of this kind of like WarioWare. It's kind of like that. Just a bunch of mini games thrown together kind of thing, but not very good. And you know what? I don't like the Three Stooges either. So there you go. That didn't help.
But like, you look at that and for the NES, that is pretty impressive.
It is 100%. 100%. Yep. It was interesting. Early Activision NES game, which is always a treat to see. Activision now owned, dude, we didn't even talk about this, by Microsoft.
Yeah, it took a while, but finally. I have my thoughts about it. But
and Blizzard.
yeah. I don't like the whole amalgamation of companies into one entity. I think it's not really good for the industry. But Also, Microsoft really doesn't have any good first party stuff. So they needed somebody to kind of amp up their production.
So I was kind of saying the opposite. I was kind of saying it's good because it's starting to feel a bit like the 90s again, right? Where it's like, if you want to play these games, you have to get this system. If you want to play these games, you have to get this system. But there's simply too much money, and there's no way that they're not going to bring out Call of Duty on PlayStation.
Oh, yeah. No,
There's just no way.
I have a theory. I don't know if I shared it on here before, but I've talked with my good buddy Wes and Ryan and Alex about it. I think strongly that in the next 10 years, Microsoft will drop doing a Xbox console itself. And they will move forward with just Game Pass as a service and release it on every platform they find available. Because that will make them way more money than actually having an Xbox.
Sure. Yeah, because they lose money on every unit they sell.
Yeah. So you save on the R&D production, you save on like having to like ship it out and sell it. But also, like, as we get further in, there's already TVs that have Game Pass pre-installed on the TV where you just have to play it with a controller.
Yeah. Which makes me scared. I mean, we're looking at maybe at the end of physical media. I don't think it'll ever be totally gone, but most of it might be gone by next generation. Now we might face the end of consoles. That breaks my heart.
Yeah, like I'll miss that era, but also if I really think about it, like my console use is very limited. Everything I do is on my PC now.
Yeah, you play Spider-Man 2 on your PC, do you?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like most of my gameplay, though, outside of like exclusives, when they're done, everything else I play is on my PC. Like
Right.
I'd say almost 80% to maybe 90% of my gaming experience is available on PC. And like my Xbox One doesn't get used because I can play all that stuff on my PC.
Oh, Stanley, it's definitely not me who wants this, my friend. So don't you here, I was trying to tell
Yeah.
you.
We're getting a little sidetracked, but it is the painful truth of like what gaming is becoming. And it's a sad reality. It's going to go the way of just like movies and stuff, right? Like it's going to be harder and harder to find actual physical copies of movies because a lot of retailers aren't going to be carrying them anymore.
It's sad. That's why we're running like hell to the past, ladies and gentlemen. Every chance we get. One of my favorite segments of the magazine, Will, is the letters to the editor. These are great.
Mm-hmm.
These are so great. The baddest of the bad. Let's start at the top by Mike Walls from Florida. I guess this is a featured letter. It's up the top right. I really love both TurboGrafx-16's legendary axe and the fantastic Ghouls and Ghosts for the Sega Genesis. Legendary axe ultimate boss Jagu looks like a wimp compared to Ghouls and Ghosts final boss Loki. How about showing screenshots so other gamers can compare? That's great. I love that. It's so great. These two went head to head in 1989 against each other in the issue that we skipped, which was the Buyer's Guide. Ghouls and Ghosts won for Game of the Year, by the way, in '89 from EGM.
Good game.
It is. Yeah, these two final bosses are great. There's Jagu from Legendary Axe. I will say Jagu's a bit more animated. He jumps and he has independent moving, where Loki here's just a static.
He looks very stationary.
He's very static. He doesn't move off the throne. There's just his limbs will do this kind of thing.
I'll be honest. I don't think I've ever beaten Ghouls and Ghosts. I should maybe try.
You got to do it twice, right? Which is the big.
Yeah, it's such a struggle the first time, and then you have to go through it again. You're like,
yeah. It is actually a bit harder too. The levels are the same, but the enemies are a bit faster. So that's, as much as I love that series, it's one of my favorite franchise. Going through it twice, I think I've done it maybe once. I just see it as a waste of time. That's an argument here or there, right? You can go kind of either way, but okay. You want to pick one?
Let's go with still more Sega. You Meg is the best.
That's you Mag is the best.
That's what it says. It says you Meg. UMEG is the
I,
best by far. No one else even comes close. I would like to suggest that you put more Genesis games into future issues of EGM. Also, please give me some screenshots and info on Fantasy Star 2 for Genesis. Last but not least, how about a magazine that's specifically for Genesis?
well, what a coincidence.
Dun dun dun. Foreshadowing.
That
Not
was
only
from,
will we give you some of the. Oops, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that was from Eric from Michigan. It looks like.
Is that Michigan or Missouri?
Oh, is it Missouri?
I
What's
don't know.
Michigan? All our friends in the states. What's the state? MI? Is that Michigan? Anyway, go on, Will.
Not only will we give you some of the first shots of Fantasy Star 2, we'll put them in the first all Sega gaming mini mag, and to top it off, we'll give it to you absolutely free in the very issue of EGM that you now hold. What a deal!
Woo! Wow, that is a good deal. And that's funny, right? This guy would have wrote this letter, would have got to them maybe in a month, maybe a little bit less than a month. They would have processed it. They would have had this issue prepped probably 2 months before. So we're looking at 3-4 months. I mean, that's a lifetime now when you look at how quick we get gaming info.
Oh yeah,
And this guy's just looking for Fantasy Star info. I think it's great.
used to
It's
be the way,
awesome.
right? Like you'd have to wait months and like months until you found out something about a game coming. And even when like the game released, you'd have to still wait a while afterwards until you got any information on
Thank you, Matt. Michigan is MI.
it. Is it? Okay.
Interface questions. Will the Mega Drive, the Japanese version of the Sega Genesis carts, and the Genesis carts be interchangeable? The system looks exactly alike and are identical inside, so I'm told. The same is wondered about the TurboGrafx and the PC Engine cards and CD-ROM games. I know a lot of gamers are wondering about this since most games appear first from Japanese systems. That's from Lance Rice. Parts unknown. Parts unknown. Brandon is in the house. Good morning, my friend. Good to see you.
Morning, Brandon.
Good question, Lance. You're right. This is one of the most common letters we receive around these offices. For all you interested in playing Japanese games on your American system, I've got good news and bad. First, the bad news. I was always an optimist. PC Engine games will not work on the Turbo and vice versa. The pin connections that allow the games to communicate to the hardware have been altered and prohibited from card swapping. Sega's Mega Carts for the Genesis, Fantasy Star 2 incorporate. Oh, that's the wrong thing. The Genesis, however, does play Mega Drive titles, although you must break the cartridge case and plug the chip in directly. That's just a plastic.
Sheesh.
It's just a plastic tab, but you could do that on a lot of games. It's just a little blocker that the North American ones had to stop it from going in.
Yeah.
You can also stick Genesis carts in directly with one unusual side effect. The American cartridge turns into the Japanese version of the game. I didn't know that.
Huh.
Besides changing the names of games, Revenge of Shinobi becomes Super Shinobi. Some titles feature different characters, new intermissions, aka cutscenes, and Japanese text that is just slightly difficult to read, unless you know Japanese, of course.
Ah,
Wow, you learn something new every day. I didn't know that. I knew about the breaking of the tab. I knew the CD-ROMs wouldn't work.
hmm.
Um, there you go.
Yeah, I never
Um,
actually knew that at all. Like even the breaking of the tabs or anything. That's kind of neat. Well,
I don't.
I feel bad like actually breaking it, right? Like,
Yeah, that's why I've never been able to do it. You want to read the last one there? When you like what you do.
okay. When you like what you do, you guys are the best. I loved your fourth issue, and in the columns for the Genesis and TurboGrafx, you put your magazine together so radically that I'm always looking forward to the next issue. Please include more previews on Genesis games. You guys are great. David Schnickel in
From
Horton, Michigan.
Michigan again.
The reply, thanks to David and the legions of others who write in with the nice compliments and helpful suggestions on how to improve the mag. It really helps.
There's a lot of fine folks in Michigan. A lot of fine folks in
Seems like
Michigan.
it. I've actually
Matt,
met a lot of people in Michigan and online enough that I want to go to Michigan and go meet them.
I know I got a lot on my streams too. A lot of great people from Michigan. How does that work? How does putting an American cartridge into a Japanese system make the game Japanese? Does that mean both versions were on the cartridge? So
It would
that's
have to be.
that to me, Matt, and I'm not questioning the minds at EGM, but that to me is a little suspect as well because I've never, ever, ever heard of that. I
Maybe we have
understand
to find out for ourselves.
if you put in Revenge of Shinobi into the North American Genesis with the tabs off, it'll be the Japanese Revenge of Shinobi. So I mean, they know more than I do, but I've never heard of that. Get set for radical action. We've seen this ad before. Great. Capcom, classy, to the point. I love the super 80s font.
Mhm.
Radical. It's so radical that they just scribbled it. No time for nice fonts. We'll just write it with a pen. And
Yeah, if
then
you're radical, you're not fancy.
exactly. 2 nice screenshots of Mega Man and Strider. Oh baby, here we go. It's our favorite segment. The review crew. And oh, we got a new face, dude. Martin. Is he new? I think he's new. I don't remember
Yeah.
Martin.
Martin is the new gun on the
Well,
review
let's
queue.
ask Matt. Matt has got an incredible memory. Is Martin new? Matt, do you remember? Steve, Ed, and Jim are the same, but I think Martin's a new guy.
Yeah, Jim was there last time. Jim was a hater last time. Ed was loving everything last issue, and then Jim was like hating everything last issue.
Yeah. So I like these little blurbs on our reviewers too. It lets us know what they've been doing in the since last issue. So Steve is the main man. Steve is beginning to see the light this month. Our big chief has gotten into the Genesis in a big way and has recently completed preview copies of Rambo 3, Forgotten World, Super Shinobi, and working on Truxton and Mystic Defender. See, look at Matt. Look at this guy. It's laser. I love it, Matt. Thank you. Yeah, your buddy's Ed. What's Ed been doing?
Now that Ed has Phantasy Star 2, we're having a hard time getting him to do anything.
Oh.
So far, he's halfway through this 6 meg masterpiece, and he's dividing his time to also playing Rolling Thunder for NES as well as Pac-Land for Turbo. So Ed's doing nothing. He's slacking off. He's just playing video games.
No way. He's playing the best game. He's playing Phantasy Star 2. I love Ed. I love Ed now even more than ever because he's a Phantasy Star guy. See, I knew there was some redemption. Martin. Oh, there you go. Martin is the new gun in the review crew, bringing close to 10 years of hard gaming experience to EGM. He currently is working hard on a number of NES titles, although, excuse me, Ghouls and Ghosts ranks as one of his favorites. Well, yeah. Jimmy.
Jim has been Jim has been in video game heaven ever since we got him the Sega 8-bit version of Golden Axe through our secret sources. He's also been playing a 16-bit version and likes them both. Jim also got a Turbo with CD and has been blasting Aliens to Metallica.
Which is weird. This is a year before the Black Album came out,
Hmm.
Which was 91. Well, wait till the Black Album comes out. You'll be blown away, Jim. I promise you, I'm telling past Jim right now, he's going to love the Black Album. It's perfection, ladies and gentlemen. And what I love about these guys, I know it's their job to play every single game, but what I really do love about them is that he's really enjoying the 8-bit version of Golden Axe, despite the Genesis version being out. So he's playing it on the Master and the Genesis, and he can appreciate both. I love that. It's great. Rolling Thunder. Who played Rolling Thunder?
I have not.
Rolling Thunder is... I don't know what these games are called. I guess it's a side scroller. Just playing this side scrolling shooter. It's like Shinobi if you ever played it. Not a huge fan of Rolling Thunder. And does it say who made it? It's still, they don't put the company in there.
Yeah, I wish like they have everything else at the top, like action, release date, levels of play, difficulty. Like I feel like you could just add right under Rolling Thunder, be like developer.
Yeah.
It's not like
Oz. Sorry, Will, go ahead.
no. I was gonna say is there's enough space to add that. I don't understand why they didn't.
I mean, like, yeah, you can see my cursor, right? When I do this.
Mhm.
Yeah, like right up here, man. Like this is where, like the difficult. Do we need to know that number of levels? Yeah, they should have the developer right here. But that's fine. Oz says, "So dig these chats. Reminds me of nights working at GameStop." Oh, thanks, brother. Appreciate that. Well,
Reminds
I'm
us of
glad.
working together at GameStop too, because this is all we did.
Yeah, Will and I worked there for a long time. Yeah, so we were right there with you. And yeah, I mean there was a lot of fun doing that. I mean, Will and I got to know each other many, many hours of sitting there in a dead store in a dead mall. The dead soul. Anyway, what? Rolling Thunder. Okay, Steve's review. He gives it an 8 out of 10, which is damn good. Rolling Thunder is a tough game, but it's not so difficult that it becomes frustrating. Since most of the enemy characters appear in the same location, it's essentially a pattern game. But the super graphics and strong gameplay make it one of my favorites in the genre. Brandon says Rolling Thunder was meh to meh. Meh plus. Yeah. Tenjin, thank you, Stanley. Unlicensed cart. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. All right.
That's probably why, because I never really played a lot of the Tension stuff.
Yeah. You remember the gold, the
Yeah.
black cards. Yeah.
We
Ed's.
gonna do Ed?
Yeah.
Rolling Thunder, very addicting side-scrolling shoot 'em up that is also a very difficult game. Normally, difficult games mean frustration, but Rolling Thunder doesn't give that impression. A limited number of continues requires a lot of practice, and a passcode feature helps. Limited graphics and good gameplay.
Limited graphics. It sounds like Ed's becoming a little bit of a graphics snob since he's playing Genesis. Ed. That's pretty
It's
rude of you, Ed, by the way. You should look at Jim a little bit more. Jim's appreciating all games, Ed.
yeah, Ed.
God.
God.
Let's read Martin. Martin's a new guy. I think we should read Martin too. This is an okay scrolling action game that has nothing spectacular except for plenty of challenge, even the most seasoned players. Not a lot of depth either, but you don't have to be a fan of the arcade version to appreciate this translation. Fair. He gives it a 6. So we're getting lower. And if you want to do Jim's back up to 8.
This is a cool action game that some may find to be very way too hard for the liking. The upper levels are very intense, but the action is coupled with some great graphics and play techniques. The passcode is a must for this cart, which should entertain gamers who blast through similar games in a day. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, not too interested in Rolling Thunder. Silkworm, American
I've
Sammy snapped up the rights to the two-player simultaneous Tecmo arcade shooter. Okay,
I kind of remember this.
I'm glad they said that. So was it Tecmo in the arcade and American Sammy ported it to the NES? I think it's NES. Steve gave it a 7. Silkworm is one of the best side-scrolling shooters I've ever seen on Nintendo. It's
But
got
you only
super
gave it a 7?
Yeah, I don't know. It's got super bosses, challenging gameplay, and helicopter jeep options. What? And the helicopter jeep option is original and welcome. Silkworm doesn't offer much more beyond its destroy the enemy theme, but for shooter fans, it's pretty good. I mean, it's a shooter. Like, what do you, Steve? What do you want? Although I will say, Choplifter is also a shooter, but you rescue people in that. I don't know. Come on, Steve. 7. Oh, yeah, your boy Ed doesn't like this one.
Hater Ed's back. Let's see what he says. A fair translation of the arcade game. Tons of screen flickering and only average graphics equals nothing spectacular. Just another shoot 'em up. What saves this game is the two-player cooperative function. Otherwise, not a very good shooter.
Hmm. Brandon's talking about the Black Album. James Hetfield really didn't want Nothing Else Matters on the album. Fun fact. I didn't know that. That became one of their biggest hits, and that also opened up Metallica to much more than just metalheads, which I think was a good thing.
Hmm.
Oz says, my store was started dead, but since I worked at one store 48 years, 48 years, 4 to 8 years, it took over. I had a lot of regular customers, and they would pop in all the time. I miss the store and the customers. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I worked at two. I worked at a company called Microplay for a couple years, and it was
Forgot you did.
independently franchised. And then I worked at EB. EB started off great. It really did until you got into management, and then it was about anything but video games. Microplay was great, but all throughout all that, both jobs, the customers, yeah, there was some really great. I mean, I made some of my still lifelong friends from customers. Um, but the corporate stuff, not so much. Not so much. Okay, let's move on here from Silkworm. What? Oh,
Is that all
okay.
the reviews? Oh, they just have like
No,
an
no.
ad in between.
Capcom, I do Sidearms, Last Duel, LED Storm. Is this is PC, I believe. Those look like PC boxes.
Yeah.
It's the end of the world as we know it. Sidearms came out on Genesis. This is just Capcom ads for games. Oh, this just might be arcade. This just might be arcade ads. Yeah, this is arcade.
Why would they
Cool.
box them though?
You don't see a lot of that. I don't know. I don't know if these are PC or arcade. Maybe someone in the chat knows. Oh, Stanley, you worked for Babbage's. Nice. One of my favorite stores I used to visit in the States. Sherazade.
Was Babbage's like the original electronics boutique? Is that how that went?
GameStop bought 5 retailers. One of them was Babbage's.
Okay.
So GameStop bought Funco Land, EB Games, or Electronics Boutique, Babbage's, and 2 others I can't remember. But that's what GameStop was the combination of all those retailers bought up and put together. And GameStop kind of used some of the best practices from all the retailers, but ultimately then just scrapped them all and went for theirs. And that's where you really saw the shift, the pushing of the cards, the pushing of the stats, all that stuff.
Mm.
What is Sherazade? Sherazade. The hell is this?
Sherazade? Sherazade? Is it like a
Is it,
spell?
it's a new
Sherazade.
RPG set forth on a quest filled with puzzles to solve, places to visit. Love the description. Along the way, you must use your reasoning skills and interact with a wide cast of characters who will respond to you with text passages. RPG. It doesn't even say what it's for. All right, well, it says Steve. Steve gives it a 5. And I've never heard of this. Have you guys heard of Sherazade? An interesting variation of a normal role playing game that relies more on graphics to support the quest than similar efforts. The graphics, unfortunately, are nothing revolutionary, but the quest has its high points and interaction between the game is handled nicely. Nothing sensational.
Mm.
That says crap.
Let's see what Ed says. Ed gave it a little higher score with a 6. It's been a while since there has been a decent quest game. Link was the last one, and Shahrazad comes along at the right time. Great for the average player. This is a challenging game that makes you think about what you're doing. If you're done with Link, get this game. Who's ever done with Link? Also, why would you just call it Link? Like,
Well, I think he means the Adventure of Link, right? Zelda 2.
I guess, but that's just a weird way of saying that, right?
If you're done with Link, get out of here.
Who's ever done with Link? Link's eternal.
Oz says I worked there during the 360 PS3 Wii era. That's when we started to no, no,
No,
Jesus,
we didn't.
no.
What are you talking about?
Sorry. We started PS2, 2000. Well, you were 02, right? I was 03. You
Yeah,
were there.
you were a year before me.
No, you were a year before me. You were there
Are
before
you
I was.
sure? I think we
100%.
actually got hired in the same year, to be honest.
I'm not gonna say his name, but old Dusty himself hired. Are you sure?
Yeah,
Me
because
and
we both
Dave,
got hired by him.
me and Dave got hired in the
Yeah, I
same.
started at the same time as you, like just before you guys, because
Okay,
I got in just after Mark did, and Mark was there for a while.
right.
Glenn was still at the store at the time.
Yeah, that was a. I'm really good with dates. I don't know. I've always been, but my first date was September 28th, 2003 was my start date. So you might. Oh, that's right, dude. You were July. You were July. I remember
Yeah.
now. There you go. Yeah.
See, not totally off.
Computer City and Comp USA. That was the other two, Matt, that GameStop bought.
Hmm.
Interesting. Mo says exactly, man. I was the same. I liked Computer City best. That must have been a. Do you remember that? Well, that must have been in the States only.
I never
I
heard of
don't.
that one here.
I don't remember
We
that.
used to have was it CompuCenter?
Mm. Yeah,
Remember
Compu
that
Center
one?
was in the mall. Yeah,
And then what was that one? Do you remember at Masonville across in that other plaza there was also another like computer gaming store. I don't remember what it
yeah.
was called, but that one was up there too.
I think that might have been a one-off. I don't think that was a chain. I think Compu
Yeah.
Center was a chain though.
Cuz that's where I
Alan,
got
good
my
morning.
PS2 cuz I remember lining up there because I couldn't get one at an electronics boutique and I got one over there.
They were hard to get. I remember that. Alan, good morning to you and Rosemary. How are you guys doing? I see you're on YouTube finally. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much. Wink, wink.
Morning,
Appreciate
Alan.
that. Good to see you. Okay. I gotta get back to this here. Okay, I read mine. You read yours? Oh yeah, you read yours
Yeah,
too.
we
Okay,
did.
I don't think we need to go on. Oh, let's go to the next one, ladies and gentlemen.
One of the best games ever.
One of the best, not only Nintendo games, but I would agree with Will. It's one of the best side scrollers. DuckTales by
Woo-hoo.
Capcom. Capcom continues, this is the description. Capcom continues the line of Disney character games following on the heels of Mickey's Mousecapade with DuckTales based on the animated series. In the game, you star as Scrooge McDuck exploring multiple levels of action and adventure on foot or on a special pogo stick, which is his cane. You can eliminate enemies and overcome obstacles with the stick. Each round, where you can choose to go a la Mega Man, is filled with its own set of dangers, obstacles to overcome. DuckTales was so great. The
Amazing game.
2009 remake of it was so great. Um, it just, and I'm not a big Disney guy at all
Mhm.
with anything. And I loved this game. And I didn't even really watch the cartoon, but the Capcom graphics are so colorful. They're so bright. The music was wonderful.
Capcom was killing it with these franchises too. Like they had a few Disney ones. They did the Rescue Rangers as well, right?
Yeah, Rescue Rangers 1 and 2, Mickey
Yeah.
Mousecapade, uh,
And those games are all great.
Nemo, Little Nemo, they
Yep.
did that. Little Mermaid, they did that.
Yeah, and they're all
Yeah,
fantastic versions of like arguably some of the best Disney games you would probably find.
yeah. Steve gives it an 8. DuckTales appears as though it was created with younger players in mind, with options such as selecting any level at the beginning of the game. This doesn't distract from the superior graphics and play mechanics, however, and despite some easy areas, DuckTales is too good to ignore.
Not wrong. Oh man, look at Ed bringing out the big nine.
See, Ed knows. Ed's hard. Ed is like today's generation hard. Like he just is. Anyway.
Yeah. The best game ever made for the young player. Look at that. After
Wow.
a dog of a game in Mickey Mouse, Capcom comes back with a game that combines all the right features to catch the younger players, hold their interest, challenge their abilities, and keep them coming back. Only for the very young. Wait a minute.
No. You
Ed,
wait.
you had me until that last part.
Ed, you wait. We have seen the future. We live in a time where nobody can let go of the past.
Like
Us
us.
included.
Here we are going back
Us
to the
included.
90s.
So I'm just saying. Yeah, Capcom was killing it both with original titles and pulling in Disney licenses. Like it was so smart and it helped them grow as a company so fast. I'm gonna read. Is it Martin?
Mhm.
Martin gives it an 8. This game has good graphics and a nice feel with plenty of emphasis on the cartoon like characters. DuckTales is not overly challenging, but the theme is different and the game is fun to play. Don't get scared away by don't get scared away by the kitty look. This is a prime example of a very good game design. Making it my own reviews. I mean that's good. And then we get to Jim.
You want to do Jim too? Okay. Jim says this is another Disney game that, like Mickey Mousecapade, before it has some decent play mechanics that are toned down for the younger players. While I'm sure this is a nice for kid, brother, or sister, you'll probably enjoy the game but find it beaten after the first day of play. I remember this game being pretty tough and challenging. Am I just bad at video games?
No, you're certainly not. Um These guys might just be like wizards. I don't know. I remember it being challenging. I love the idea of being able to go to the whatever level you wanted. I think that was good for everyone, all ages, especially kids. If they got stuck, they could skip it, and then the parents would still have value. They didn't feel like they're throwing away their money because you can't get past level one. It didn't matter. You could go anywhere you wanted. And they
Mhm.
just copied the Mega Man formula. But I love that, man. It's an open world game before open world games. There you go.
Yeah.
Is DuckTales the first open world game? I think it might be.
You
Godzilla. Sorry, go
What
ahead,
would you
buddy.
deem as like open world though? Like Zelda 2 would technically be open world.
Yep.
More open world than DuckTales.
Open world, you could go anywhere you want without limitations for the most part. You have to have, like Zelda 2 has some limitations that you could get by. Zelda 2, if you don't go to the first palace first, you won't get the candle,
Mhm.
meaning that every cave you go in is pitch black, which makes it almost impossible. You could still do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think open world is just without limitations. But hey, Ghetto, what's up, buddy? I wasn't the Batman game. Oh, I wanted the Batman game so bad for Christmas, but my mom got me the Batman board game instead. Oh, just if you had just explained the details a bit more. Damn it.
It was a
Well,
Batman
I'm sure
board game?
Batman and a board. Oh, dude, the 89 Batman had everything, including underwear. Excuse me. Okay, Godzilla. I'm gonna guess American. Is this? I don't know who makes this. Straight from Tokyo comes the King of the Monsters Godzilla in its first game adventure. Toho, that's it. I
Mm.
almost wanted to say
Oh, that makes
American Toho.
sense. Because
Yeah.
Toho has all of the like Godzilla stuff.
The company responsible for bringing the fire breathing creature on the screen has teamed Godzilla up with his pal Mothra, to take on the strongest creations from the films Mecha Godzilla with Planet X Monster, etc. This game combines some strategy, moving your monster heroes on the hex map, as well as action encounters with opponents and bosses on different planets. Well, are you a Godzilla guy?
I enjoy Godzilla. Now, if you ask me like the
Yeah.
lore of Godzilla, I won't really be able to fill you in like the timeline about it. But who doesn't like just giant monsters blowing up cities and fighting each other?
I I certainly remember watching my share. We had a station here called WUAB, which is actually out of
Mm,
Cleveland, Ohio. And for some reason, we got it here. It was channel 20. WUAB on this Saturday, Sunday afternoon movies always played Godzilla movies. And I remember them kind of always being on in the background. I can't say I've actually really sat down and watched a Godzilla movie from start to finish. I don't think I ever have. So I'm kind of like you, where like I'm aware of the characters, but I don't really know much about it.
yeah.
It's not really my thing. It's fun for sure, but this game is not getting very good scores. I'm a little worried here. Steve 5. Godzilla is an interesting game that throws in some strategy between the action sequences. It is in the action scenes, however, that need improvement. Godzilla and Mothra move far too slow for a real exciting interaction. And even though the large characters look good, the game's average. Huh.
Yeah. I did try to play this a lot as a kid because like I had fun being Godzilla doing the side scrolling part, but it used to have like a hexagonal based top down like movement system. So it almost like chess. You're moving the
Yeah.
characters. And I just didn't
Yeah.
understand that as a kid. So I just like throw in my character to wherever it would get to that sequence. But
I mean,
yeah.
doesn't look that good. Let's see what Ed says.
Ed says another action game. Godzilla tries to be interesting by including a playboard screen. Being able to select the monster you want to fight with is okay, but old Godzilla just can't fight like he did in the movies. Side view fighting scenes are too predictable and not enough surprise.
Hmm.
I'd agree with that.
I'm really interested to see Jim at the bottom. He gives it a 4, which is the
Ooh.
lowest score out of any game today. Godzilla started with a very unique idea but didn't fully realize its potential. The side scrolling action scenes get repetitive with a limited number of enemies attacking. The inability of Godzilla and Mothra to turn around, oh my god, is also annoying. Some of the graphics are cool, but not much else. You can't turn around.
No, you're always stuck facing forward, and if you wanted to, like when you move backwards, you would
Yeah.
just walk backwards, and like enemies would be coming from behind you, and you'd keep getting hit. Yeah, I remember that.
Wow. Wow. Matt says it depends on who made the Godzilla movie. There are monster movies that scared people, and they are the versus movies that are just big monster fights. The versus movies were cheesy and awesome. Ghetto says the reviewers back then gave that raw truth. You got that right, buddy. Well, you had to, right? And this is why this magazine lives up to its legendary status because they were truthful. Despite companies throwing that advertising money at them, they still told the truth.
Yeah. It's not like today. It's hard to tell like reviews nowadays. Like you're always kind of skeptical.
Like the paid placements, you mean?
Yeah, because you never know. Like a game could be rated like a perfect title. Hold on.
Yeah, like if they had if the cover of a magazine has Call of Duty, the new Call of Duty, right? It's kind of like, well, is this sponsored by Call of Duty? And if it is, in fact, can we really give it a bad score, even if it is terrible?
Yeah, that's. Sorry, I got interrupted. But yeah,
No,
that's what I was getting to. Like, can you really trust like Xbox magazine giving an Xbox title a 10 out of 10, or a PlayStation magazine giving a PlayStation title like perfect scores?
yeah, and we used to buy all those back in the day, especially working at EB. I liked the demo discs that came with the games or that came with the magazines, but I never liked reading just PlayStation or just Xbox for reviews. I always found it kind of weird. Like you just said, it's like pretty biased, right?
Yeah, the multi-platform like publications like Electronic Gaming Monthly were the ones to go with.
When Johnny Comes Marching Home, 1943 by Capcom. See, again,
Great game.
this is just advertising the game, not a particular
I wonder
version
if
of the
they
game.
did that because like maybe they were just because it went more multi-platform, so maybe they just have like one generic cover and be like, oh, it's coming to these systems or whatever, but they don't even mention like other systems. I
No,
don't know.
I think this is an arcade ad. It's got to be.
Graphically that does not look like, yeah, like a console version. That definitely looks
Yeah,
more arcade.
yeah. But it's weird, like you said on the last one. Like, why would they make a mock-up box then?
Mm.
Interesting. Captain Comic. Ooh, fours. The first effort from a non-licensed Nintendo company, Color Dreams. Oh, Color Dreams is brutal. Offers gameplay that is attempted and duplicated other side-scrolling action games. Captain Comic must overcome obstacles and enemies, find weapons, and make it the goal in each level of play. It's just Boring game. Multi-level landscape scroll by, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Color Dreams, I can't stand these guys, man. Yeah, James, Angry Video Game Nerd, did a ton of stuff on the unlicensed games. They all play bad. Like, they're all like Action 52 games. They just play terribly.
Yeah, a lot of these I feel like they were just cash grabs, right? So they take ideas from other properties and just throw them out there and be like, "Oh, here's a new game," without actually like refining it and stuff. They just wanted the money, and that's what killed like the Atari and stuff, right? Like all these type of games flooding the market and like similar games with different coloring in that, and
Yeah, like, it would be, like, like a space shooter like Space Invaders, and then, another company would just duplicate it because there was no licensing for the 2600. It was like the Wild West, right? You could bring
yeah.
anything out. That's why those weird porno games exist, right? Because it's like anybody can put anything on it. Bushnell didn't care. It was just like, sure, man. That's
Give me that
why
money.
giving out. I need that money. Give me that money. That's why the Nintendo seal of approval was created by Nintendo, because they're like, hold on, we might not be able to stop Tenjin from releasing games, but those games aren't getting our seal of approval because they might not be that great.
Yeah.
So Captain Comic, Steve gave it a 4. Captain Comic has most of the elements of a good action adventure game, but the execution is poor. The scrolling zooms by too quickly to appreciate the detail of the backgrounds, and the enemies are too few and far between. A good try, just falls a little bit too short.
Ed says, although I can appreciate what Color Dreams has tried to do, the game ends up looking like a prototype that is half complete. The challenge is limited by a small number of attackers, and the game itself plays like a better than average 2600 game.
Oh, that's a pretty big insult. Everyone say hi to Darth Blaze. Darth Blaze has he's a streamer as well on YouTube, guys. Check him out. Good
Good on
buddy of
Darth
mine.
Blaze.
Yeah, so we don't have to keep going with that one.
Yeah.
Color Dreams, I won't pay too much mind. Dead
Angle?
Angle. I said Angel. I was that close. I can read sometimes. I liked Dead Angle. Got a 6 by Steve. I like Dead Angle in the arcades. It was a good follow up to Empire City. Targeting the bad guys and loading them with lead is done well, and the whole game is easy to grasp and play. The entire package in Dead Angle, including the graphics and sound, are complimentary for the Sega 8-bit. Yeah, so this is on the Master System. 6.
What did you think of these type of games? Like, obviously, they're like the arcade counterparts with the light guns were superior. But did you
Yeah,
ever enjoy one using a controller? I hated these games.
no. I think the big one on the NES was Operation Wolf, and yeah, moving the reticle. Like
It didn't feel the same.
as far as home consoles, besides buying any of the Namco like peripherals, the Wii got it perfectly right.
Mhm.
Just with the wand, that was perfect. This is clumsy, moving the reticle. This is what like Mad Dog McCree and Who Shot Johnny Rock were like if you didn't have the light gun. You would
Oh,
have
it's
to
so
use the
bad.
controller and drag it, and it was impossible because those games were real time.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I didn't like this stuff.
But they kept coming. Like somebody was buying these games to have
Uh,
them keep coming out.
Well, these are shooters before the first person was created.
Mm.
The boys at id Software, right? This was before that. So, I mean, you had to get your shooting fix somehow. I mean, we had like shooters and Contra and stuff like that, but this was kind of, I guess, first person, right? You just couldn't move.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's weird because I feel like they had the light gun for a lot of those older games too. Not this one, obviously, but like Nintendo used it for only a handful of games. Really, I feel like that thing was underutilized for what it could have done.
Well, the Master System had the black light gun as well. And if you look
Oh,
at
that's
this,
right.
if you look at the screenshot here, it's like, why couldn't they just incorporate the duck hunt mechanics? Like,
Right?
you don't need the reticle if you have a light gun. So I agree with you. They should have made this a light gun game.
Hmm.
But
Anyways, head. Ugh, easy head. Ed doesn't like this one. Sega's best shot no pun intended, at a decent game this season. Don't look for anything spectacular, though. It's Gangster Town without the light gun. And an auto fire stick. Anyone will finish this one in one day. Although the graphics are great, it's not enough to blow you away.
Yeah, so you can just hold the button down. Is what
Yeah.
he's some of the way this stuff's written and it's in there so tight that sometimes it's it's hard
The
to read.
red doesn't really help either because sometimes I feel it, like I can't really see the word with the
Yeah.
red being so bold on the numbering.
Matt says trying to play a shooting game with a controller was impossible. Even worse than this to switch from the keyboard and mouse to a controller. Yeah, I would agree. And maybe that's it, Matt. Maybe I just didn't spend enough time. Like I would get frustrated really easy with controls back then, right? So with this, this probably would be inverted too, which is foreign to me, with no way to change it. So I was probably like, you know what, this just is not for me. Which did you ever play? Will, did you ever play Dick Tracy on Genesis?
No, I never played that one.
So Dick Tracy was made by Sega, and it was a side scroller, but it had parts like this. So you're walking along, side scrolling, shooting enemies, and then enemies in the background would pop up. And so you would pop into a mode like this, and you could actually shoot the background. Pretty neat. Pretty neat. What is Scramble Spirits?
Looks like a
Sega.
1943 kind of game.
Loosely based on the Sega arcade shooter, the same name. Okay, so this is from Master System as well. 3. Old Steve gives it a 3. Scramble Spirits is a mediocre translation of the arcade original that's too easy and doesn't throw enough thrill into the play. Although the Sega shooters are rare, both Power Strike and Activision's Bomber Raid provide more interesting shoot 'em up scenarios. Scramble Spirits is just a big disappointment.
Womp womp.
I would agree. I don't even know what it is, so
I've never heard of it.
There you go.
Ed says another game from Sega, which is too easy for the average player. The graphics are very good, with attention paid to the detail of the enemy planes and battleships. I think that's what it says.
Planes, yep.
The vertical scrolling is good, but the game is just too easy to appreciate what this game has to offer.
4. Brutal. Ghetto says Bayou Billy switching to the gun was a pain in the butt. Oh man.
Yeah, those parts sucked.
I don't remember that. I don't remember there was light gun parts.
Yeah.
In Bayou Billy. I don't remember that at all. Wow.
You'd be like in the whatever boat or thing he was in, you'd be like going in the river and you'd be shooting stuff on the side.
Oh, so it was a different level.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think you switched between it.
Okay, so you'd have a side-scrolling level,
Bio.
and then the next level would be like a gun level, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's how I remember it anyways.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that game. All Konami's box art was just so gorgeous, and I remember the back of the box. The images were beautiful, and I played it, and I'm just like, well, the graphics are great, but it's just not that fun. 8 Eyes, easy. You calling me that?
Easy 8 Eyes.
The origin of the Falconer. I'm good. I don't remember 8 Eyes. He looks like the Beastmaster, like with Final Fantasy.
Kinda, yeah.
Kinda, like all mixed together kind of thing. I don't remember this one.
Sorry. Go back for a sec. As Orin the Falconer, you must save the world from the evil of 8 Eyes.
Of the 8 Eyes.
These jewels of power are held by the king's dukes, who plan to use them to rule the world for their profit. Control Orin and his falcon, Cutris? Can't say that word on the internet.
Cutris. Yeah, don't put an N in there. Cutris.
Or in the unique simultaneous mode where you play Orin and your friend controls Cutris. Contains password feature. Oh, thanks.
Nope. Next. We got a couple TurboGrafx games being Dragon Spirit and Galaga 90. Dragon Spirit is a top-down shooter where you're dragons instead of planes.
I like that game. That's a turbo
Steve
game,
gives it a
right?
7. You have this, you said?
I do, yeah.
It's a good game.
It's pretty fun.
7. This is a good game that's not quite identical to the arcades, but close enough. The dragon theme doesn't disguise that this game really is a solid shoot 'em up and uses the medieval motif to near perfection. The different weapon power-ups increase the playability of this fine shooter even more. Well, you should have gave it higher than a 7, I think. That sounds to me like an 8.
Yeah, you're saying something like near perfection, but giving it a 7. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm changing Steve's to an 8. I'm overruling this one. 8.
All right. Tough guy Ed says, now this is closer to what a 90s shooter should be. Plenty of different types of firepower, power ups, and a wide variety of enemies. Scrolls nicely and handles well. Dragon Spirit has a proper difficulty curve and offers constant non-stop action. The graphics aren't state of the art, but it fits the turbo. I feel like overall he was pretty positive and glowing about it. Also seems very low for a score. Maybe he just wanted to be the cool guy. Everyone else gave it a 7. He's like, I'm just gonna give it a 6.
Maybe we were wrong, Will. Maybe they got that Sega money. Maybe they got that Sega money pushing Mega Play, the all Sega magazine in this issue.
Uh-oh.
Corruption.
EGM caused the downfall of the turbo. Not that it was poorly released and marketed. It was all EGM's fault.
Ed the Edgelord. Galaga 90 originally made its way through the arcades as Galaga 88. But even though there's a change in titles, the gameplay of this Galaga update remains remarkably close to the coin op. You command a laser fighter up against a horde of alien invaders. We don't need the explanation. It's pretty self-explanatory. Steve liked this one, though. Okay? He liked this one. So he gave it an 8. Everything about Galaga 90, from its spectacular graphics to the sizzling sound, is to its perfect gameplay, has to be seen to be believed. Really? Really? The game is absolutely identical to the original and retains all of the addictive shoot 'em up challenges that were so entertaining in the arcades. A masterpiece. I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I hate Galaga, and I hate Galaxian, and I hate Space Invaders. I can't stand this kind of game. There you go. The secret's out. Cat's out of the bag. I just had to come clean.
Is it pronounced Galaga?
Was it Galaga?
I've always heard it as Galaga, but is it Galaga?
Maybe it's Galaga, whatever.
I don't know. Okay, somebody needs to clear this up in chat.
Yeah,
I've always heard it as Galaga, but Jay's calling it Galaga.
But I also say Ryu, and you say Ryu, so whatever. Or do you say Ryu? Well, I know lots of people that I know say Ryu, but I say Ryu.
Yeah. Well, so for that one, I understand. Like a lot of people weren't really exposed to Japanese naming back then, right? So a lot of people, as you pronounce it in like an English way, it's like Ryu, right? But apparently, the way to say it properly is Ryu.
Never, my friend. He will always be Ryu to me.
What do you call Ken? You call him Keen?
Ken.
Old Keeny? I'm gonna play as Keen Masters.
Let me ask you this. Do you like this style of game? You can be honest. We're among friends here.
This type? No.
You have this on your machine. I see it. I actually see it. Isn't that playing right there? Yeah. Yeah, I hate this kind of game, man. I find it incredibly frustrating.
They're not fun. I've always found them kind of boring. Same with like even Centipede.
Yeah, same style, same thing.
Yeah, same. Like you're just at the bottom down there, and
yeah,
it's never been my thing.
Space Invaders is the worst, and I'm not taking anything away from what it's done for video games at all. But I'm just saying that game is, dude, it's torture. It's torture. These games, I remember getting Galaxian on the 2600. Played the death out of it, of course, because you played what you got.
Yeah.
But just remembering, like, why do people like this so much? Like, it's not fun.
Fun. What was the other one that I really liked? Didn't like? Oh, like Missile Command too, as well.
Oh, Missile Command. There's a lot of strategy in that one. That one's frustrating too. Yeah, for sure. Dale, good morning. How you doing, buddy?
Morning, Dale.
Did you do Ed yet? I don't think you
No,
did.
we got off on a little tangent about Galaga and Galega.
Don't knock Commander Keen, Matt says. Hey,
That's
man.
fair. Sorry.
Nope, not doing it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Commander.
Commander Kin. It's pronounced Commander Kin, by the way.
Yeah,
Right.
Commander Kin. I've been saying it wrong all these years. Edgelord Ed says
5.
yeah, 5 out of 10. A 1990s version of Space Invaders. While nicely done on the turbo, it still boils down to just a basic shooter. 12 years of progress does add fireworks, but if there is a reason to get this game, it has to be the sound. One of the best with choreographed aliens that are comical, just average. So do the
Yeah.
aliens move to the music? That's how Space Invaders worked, right? So it was like, brum, brum, brum. So do they say that do the same in Galaga?
Well, Space Invaders, the closer they got to the bottom, the faster the music got.
Yeah, but they moved
Right.
in time with the beat, right? So
Oh,
that
did they? Okay.
is that what he's saying with this one? Like, do the aliens move in time with the beat of the music as well too?
It's been a long time. I don't know if there's like some rockin' soundtrack. I mean, I have this game. I haven't plugged it in for 400 decades, so I don't know.
Time to go back.
Be interesting to see. What are we missing in chat? Stanley started a fire and he said Atari rules. Okay, that's fair. What is this? Are you not a fan of what?
Shmups? Like
Mo,
shoot 'em
what?
ups?
Oh, shoot 'em ups.
I like the more like R type and like actual like side scrolling maybe and even like up at top down like 1943. But these ones, I don't know, I feel like they're a lot more stationary, right? Like you're not really moving other than left and right on these ones. And your character's always at the bottom. I feel like more of like the actual versatility of moving around on the screen more. One of my favorite Super Nintendo games is actually UN Squadron, which would be like a shoot 'em up.
That's Capcom. That's fantastic, man.
That game is incredible, and I feel like nobody ever talks about Squadron.
TJ was streaming that not too long ago.
Yeah,
I think it's fantastic. We always talk about one of our favorites, Will, which is Blazing Lasers.
yeah, Blazing Lasers is amazing. Ikaruga that came out on the arcade and originally GameCube was really good too.
But those are all they're scrolling, right? This is stationary. I don't know, just for me, and I will never take anything away from games in a primitive state like this because this is where it all came from. Just for me, even back then, like I just didn't like this kind of game. So there you go.
But like that doesn't mean like it's bad for everyone, right? That's I always say like, that's the best thing about gaming is there's so much variety and iteration that like it's great that everybody can enjoy something and others can't, right?
Dale says Taito had a lot of great games that I wouldn't mind having in the PlayStation 2 back and having both of those Taito collections they did. I remember when we were working at EB and that Taito collection came in.
Mm-hmm.
That generation was fantastic for those compilations. Remember there's the Intellivision collection, the Namco museums, the Taito collection, Capcom Arcade Museum. Yeah, it was a great time.
Now they sell them all separately for more.
They got wise. They're like, wait a minute, why are we putting 50 on one disc when you could sell one for like a quarter of the price? Damn them.
Yeah, $5 to $10. These suckers will buy the individual games and will be rich.
Rambo 3 on the Sega Genesis. I believe it was Sega that made this one. Rambo 3 is essentially several games in one. The game contains several missions that each present in different objectives, like destroying stockpiles and finding POWs. Most of the action encompasses Rambo in the main play field, who must stab, shoot, and bomb his way through the opponents. Some of the weapons available to Rambo, like the exploding bow, can be built up a la R-Type for more destruction. First-person scenes divide the regular missions and add a different challenge. So this is one of the original black box releases on Genesis. I never played Rambo 3. Have you?
I never played this one, no. Not a clue.
Yeah, Rambo wore out his welcome with me even when I was a kid. The first two are okay, but the rest of the movies are just kind of blah.
I didn't see any of those movies until I was older because, like, when they came out, I was like sub 10. So, like, these were not movies I was allowed to watch.
They're extremely adult, but hey, that didn't stop RoboCop and Predator and Friday the 13th and all the others we consumed, right?
That's true.
This was an interesting time because early video game rental stores, I remember around here, had a lot of NES stuff, but didn't have a lot of Genesis. By the time video rental stores in my neighborhood started to get Genesis, Rambo 3 was old because it was a launch. So maybe that's why I never played it. Again, pile that onto the fact that I didn't really care much about Rambo, so I wasn't going to buy it anyway. I would like to try it now. I don't see this one too often.
Rambo 3? When we go out and look for our little expedition on retro games, we'll keep an eye out for it.
No, we're gonna have to go soon, man, before it snows, because I'm not driving on that highway with the snow.
Shh, come on.
But the one store in Toronto, dude, we got to go to. It's crazy. Oh my god, dude, it's.
Oh, we can always wait until next year too if it gets snowy. We'll see.
It's
Anyways.
Mo says my favorite shoot 'em up game is 1942 in the arcade. The NES port is okay, but the arcade game is fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, One Up Arcade has the Capcom table.
Yeah,
and it has it on there. It's great. And the cool thing, like I have the sit down bar table arcade, and like it actually splits screen in half. So like Ashley, my wife, and I would play it, and she would sit on one end, I would sit on the other, and we could play simultaneously. It was pretty cool.
Sick. Ghetto says complete in box Rambo 3 is $70 US. Huh.
That's not
Dale's,
too bad.
Dale says I have the Rambo 3 Genesis cart. Nice, dude. Well, you guys maybe want to check it out.
River City Ransom, one of the best games ever.
Yeah, this is great. American Technos.
Oh my god.
Oh, great. Look at this. Our first Game Boy review. Oh my god. The nostalgia just hit me. Motorcycle Maniacs.
Oh, I remember playing a lot of that.
Dude. Konami, I believe.
I don't know. Wish they would tell us.
That's kind of weird. Can somebody? Well, I guess you can. Will can somebody Google Motorcycle Maniacs? I'm gonna say it's Konami, but I might be wrong because it's not Nintendo. I don't think. God, that was a good game. Forgotten Worlds. Forgotten Worlds for the Genesis. This was a really interesting side and top down shooter where you could actually, your guy, I don't know if he had a jetpack or not, but he could fly and you could turn him 360 degrees. That was the big gimmick in this one. So he could face any which way. And you could find shops in the levels too with all the coins that you got and buy new weapons and upgrade your weapons. It was such a great game. Super fun as 2 players.
Was it like the world that turned?
No, your guy.
Okay.
Your guy would turn, which is really cool for a 2D game. Did anybody find that out? Motorcycle Maniacs?
Yeah, it's Konami.
Oh, the old memory is still there, kind of, sort of, sometimes.
Well, okay, so it separates it. So Japan and EU, it was Konami. In North America, it was done by Ultra Games.
Which is Konami still.
Yeah, subsidiary of Konami. There we go. Yeah, okay.
Konami's division of Ultra's a division of Konami that was created because Nintendo only let them companies release 4 games a year to keep quality at its highest. So then Konami's like, well, we'll get around that. We'll make another company. So they did. They made a division.
That'll teach that Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Forgotten Worlds. Steve gives it an 8. Forgotten Worlds is another pixel-perfect arcade translation. Yes, this is an arcade game onto the Genesis. Although the movements of your characters, A and C rotate the character left and right, and the 2-player combo title is awkward at first, but superb graphics, detailed attacks, and hard-hitting gameplay make this one a winner.
Yeah. Edgy the Edgelord Ed still likes this one too.
Yeah, I was just going to say quickly, it should be noted that this is by Capcom, but it is translated by Sega for the Genesis. It matters to some people. Anyway.
Yeah. There has been many attempts. You forgot the T in there.
Attempts. Many attempts.
At 2-player games. A true 2-player game should be impossible to beat in a 1-player mode. That type of game is finally here, and it offers excellent detail, smooth scrolling, and an ending that is so intense that the Genesis can't keep up with the action.
Oh, you got slowdown. I guess they hadn't coined the term slowdown yet. Let's go back in time and tell them. It's called slowdown, Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the best. One I never had. Again, what was great about growing up when I did is my buddies and I, who were serious gamers, would coordinate our purchases so we could trade for the weekend. So my buddy Skylar had this game. I never had it, but I got to borrow it many times. I still don't have Forgotten Worlds. I wish I did. It's on the Capcom Virtual Arcade on every system, but I'm talking about the actual Genesis one. Motorcycle Maniacs. Now this is like if you took Excite Bike and like, I don't know, you trying to think. The thing with this game was that you had jumps and ramps in the air. So you would fly up, if you remember well, and you could do like 360s in the air. And it was like kind of like Hot Wheel courses. Like you go upside down and do all these crazy jumps. Oh, so good. This game was so good.
It was a lot of fun.
A launch title for the Game Boy as well, one I played the death out of. Game is actually better than the super version of Excite Bike, the description says. Cool. Steve gave it a 7, which I think is criminally low. Criminally low. My Motocross Maniacs is a very good game that has plenty of addictive qualities. With dual scrolling, it takes your racers flying off ramps and spiraling through loops high in the air. Motocross Maniacs is a very fun game to play. This reminds me of like when Ralphie writes his letter to Santa. It's like so basic. Sorry. Motocross Maniacs is a very fun game to play. Lots of options and multiple skill levels help you tailor the game as well. Yay.
The name says it's all. Start with Excite Bike and make it better. Add 360-degree loops, nitro injection for speed, and even jet engines for flight. And this game, does he say that twice? He does. And this game really takes off. That's weird. I don't like that. It's hard to believe that in a Game Boy game would be better than its NES counterpart. A definite must-have.
Their 50-word deadline. Ed was playing too many games, so he fudged it. Oh, they'll never notice. We'll just put 10 of those words twice.
Yeah.
There you go. There's half my review.
Made it. Playing too much Phantasy Star. I don't care.
Revenge of Gator. HAL Laboratories, it looks like. Pinball game. Okay. Pinball.
I mean, it's pinball.
Yeah. We were talking. I believe you said you were toying with the idea of getting the 1-up pinball, right?
Yeah, because like the actual like pinball arcade cabinets are so freaking expensive, but like the virtual like cabinets seem to be a lot cheaper.
And you get to enjoy I don't want to say the same experience because it's not. You get to enjoy the core gameplay of pinball without the maintenance. And
yeah, that's the other thing.
If you think taking care of original arcade cabs is difficult, that's nothing compared to pinball machines, which need to be taken out because there's so much metal, oiled, fixed, tightened. I don't profess to know, but I imagine that's some of the things you'd have to do with original pinball. Yeah, not my thing.
Yeah, like from my understanding, because we were looking into it, everybody always recommended to have like yearly maintenance done onto it because like the board can get tilted and shifted from play. So you need to have somebody come in or like learn how to do it yourself. But I'm like, man, I spent like $10,000 on this.
I would feel like you'd have to learn how to do it yourself. Yeah, I mean, imagine like we played that wonderful Jurassic Park one and the Indiana Jones one. Like, imagine if just one of the bulbs goes out. Like,
Yeah,
how do you even get in there? Do you know what I mean? Like,
scary stuff.
yeah.
Some
So
of the modern, like, virtual, pinball machines, though, they have, like, haptic feedbacks for the bumpers and stuff too, so you do feel that, like, shake and stuff when you actually hit them, which is kinda neat.
nice. It would be cool if they had some kind of motion detection. I don't know how they do that. You know how people used to cheat sometimes and like
Oh,
rock
yeah,
the machine.
all the time.
Revenge of Gator 6 for the Game Boy. Steve says Revenge of Gator is a very good pinball game for the Game Boy with multiple levels and 3 bonus rounds, but it gets a bit repetitive after several plays. Well, yeah. Working your way up the play field can become slow and tedious, but for a portable pinball game, this one isn't too bad.
Let's see what Ed says. One wouldn't think that pinball would come off looking decent on the small Game Boy screen, but Gator does. With nicely animated action, plenty of targets, and a bonus screen and bonus screens, you get a game that offers good light and enjoyable gameplay to help you pass the time. Pure entertainment.
Hmm.
You know, what was a good pinball game was just like the Black Cart Pinball NES game.
Yeah, that was nice. Two, since we're Turbo fans, Alien Crush and Devil's Crush are also
Hmm.
fantastic pinball games. Ghetto, what are you saying? Is that Forgotten Worlds arcade cabinet? 350 to 800. Are you talking about the cart? Loose complete. Oh, you must be talking about the cartridge. Yeah, see, I can't pay that for that, man. That's crazy.
577 for new? Oh, okay.
Oh,
So
see,
loose
like
is
sealed.
15.
Yeah.
Yeah, so complete would be 37. That's not bad. New though, yeah, like complete. I think that would be 577, which is insane.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Action, 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 action.
Amagon.
I've never heard of Amagon.
Play that my modded AT Games pinball.
Hmm.
Okay, gaming gossip. Another great section that EGM always has is the gaming gossip by Quarterman. This was back in the day my favorite part of the magazine because this everything Quarterman said that I remember always came true. He didn't just print gossip for the sake of selling magazines. No, sir. This was all rumors that eventually would become true. And we've read some really cool stuff from Quarterman.
Hmm.
Sunsoft is looking to bring some very strong games to the NES, and according to a source close to the company, Sunsoft has big plans after Batman hits early this year. Some of the possible titles rumored to be considered include the adaptation of the computer game Whizball from Europe, a comical gadget game Gremlins 2, licensed from the movie, accepted to hit in time for the film's summer release. Oh my god, Gremlins 2 is not even out
Hmm.
yet. As well as a side-scrolling Castlevania-ish version of Batman for the Game Boy and possibly a similar impossible title similar to Battleship. What a lineup! You have something far yeah, you have something for the game fan in all of us. Wow, that was rough. Sorry guys. Yeah, it's cool. You want to grab one? Let's do a couple of these.
Sequel Madness Part 1. Capcom is hitting the arcades with 1941. More fly and shoot action. Super Commando, 3-player Commando, and Super Street Fighter. Come on, Super Famicom. Your time is running out. What? I feel like that's
Uh,
Spider-Man.
I mean, I don't
Talking
know.
about, man. Shut it down. No more gaming gossip. I know. Now the PC Engine 2 will be hitting stores in Japan before the Nintendo 16-bit. We've seen the demonstration, now give us the games. On a more positive note, more companies are developing the for the Super Family in anticipation for its summer 1990 release. Rumor has it that only one game per year will be allowed to avoid a 16-bit glut.
Hmm.
Uh, Also, Nintendo is saying that they will not be bringing their 16-bit to these shores. We'll see, Nintendo. We'll see. Why would
Yeah,
Nintendo say they're not bringing it? Like in general, or just like not at
yeah.
the same time?
Do you remember this was over the last few issues that we've gone through? Do you remember Nintendo keeps saying that the future is not 16-bit, the future is fine with the NES and with Game Boy. Remember? And then they tricked
Oh,
everybody and brought it out. They're just trying to steer everyone away from Sega and TurboGrafx and be like, you don't need that.
yeah. Well, they were just trying to keep sales. It's all sales tactics, right? I
Yeah.
remember this now. Yeah. Still a dumb
Uh,
take, but
Ghetto says Sunsoft. Yeah, Sunsoft was great. The Batman game was amazing. Black Bass on NES. Ever play this one? I feel like you'd play this one.
I've seen it. I never played it for whatever reason.
The Black
I should check
Bass.
it out. Do you? Is it a fishing game though? Or are you actually like? Are you playing as the black bass?
No, it's a fishing game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
realistic.
screenshots don't do it really any justice.
Nah, it's pretty awful. From
Huh.
Hot B, I don't remember Hot B. Future Play.
Oh, old Steve Harris. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Editor's note. So this is the system that we were talking about at the beginning. This is the Super Graphics, which was the next system to come out after the PC Engine and the Turbo Graphics. Now, I'm not exactly sure why this system didn't really sell because there's only 6 games for it. But this, like I was saying earlier on the stream, this was the system that had the perfect arcade translation of Ghouls and Ghosts, which is why I wanted it. Not to mention the system itself physically just looked amazing. So I'm just going to read a bit of Steve's notes here. The past year has seen more development in both the home and the arcade video game scene, more than any year before it. 1989 witnessed the final release of the TurboGrafx 16, the Genesis, and the Game Boy systems on these shores, and the promise of future of game consoles is hotter than ever. With the Nintendo Super Famicom, Connex multi-system, the Atari Lynx, and the NEC Super Graphics consoles, all poised to enter the crowded game machine market sometime in 1990. And this is before you even got into 3DO, Jaguar, Sega CD. None of that stuff had even been mentioned yet. But I think Will and I were talking about the Connex multi-system before. I don't even remember if that ever came out. But that was poised to come out. The Atari Lynx, which of course released, and the Super Graphics, which did come out, but it didn't do very well. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Ghetto, you remember the Super Graphics? You must. Dale says, my father is really good at pinball. I saw him be the machine, and then it would only have like free play after that. Oh, he beat it. You could beat pinball games? I guess you could roll the score, right? Interesting.
I remember as a kid, my old campsite, you had like an arcade in it, and I was that annoying kid where like some guy made the top score on, I think it was the Terminator arcade pinball machine,
Yeah.
and he was walking away from it, and then I was like, oh, you can like hit the button and replay, but it resets the score and you have to do it over again. So I hit the button on him, and he like
Wow.
like, sorry, what are you gonna do? I'm like a little kid.
That's funny. Claim still trying to push their garbage. Forget these wireless controllers, they're terrible. There's the picture of Super Mario World that I always talk about on my streams. This was the photo that's burned in my brain. Um, they're calling it Mario World here, but for a long time they called it Super Mario Brothers 4. After repeated delays, Nintendo finally released the final design for Nintendo's shot at the 16-bit sweepstakes. What? It's not a contest. I guess it is. Whatever.
Kind of, yeah. When you get the
Kind of weird
Genesis,
though.
that, and I guess over here, not really the Turbo, but
While some surface changes have been made to the console, the unit's powerful processor and dazzling graphics capabilities remained intact and were shown off for a great degree in a new flight simulator called Dragonfly. I don't think that's Pilot Wings, but and even the shot they're showing here, this is not the final version because the buttons are different. The buttons are different colors. But there it
Hmm.
is. There's your Super Famicom.
I kind of dig that look though. I think we said this last time. I like the look of that.
It's cool. It's definitely cool. Look at Ed. There's Ed in the middle picture there. He's playing the Conics. Look at that thing. Oh God. You were
Ed being so
badass in the
cool.
day if you had a computer monitor to play your console games.
I used to, so for the longest time, up until pretty much the N64 and the PlayStation 1, I used a Commodore 64 monitor.
I mean that's still one of the most sought after for retro games. It's
Like,
a
it worked for
fantastic.
everything. It
Yeah.
always worked. It was so reliable. It's such a great monitor.
Ghetto says if you lock Jay in a room with ghouls and ghosts, he'd be happy. Yep, pretty much. Yeah, except the Master System one. Yeesh. Hey, Hulkster. Din, din, din. That game sucks. So what are these? The games with literally hundreds of games coming out soon.
Oh,
And
it's just like
next to
previews.
impossible. Oh, it's preview. Look at these, dude. Ninja Gaiden 2, Contra 2, Castlevania 3, Golden Axe, Ultima 4.
What a lineup. Advanced Dungeons and Dragons as well. Don't count that one out.
Yeah, getting into the 90s with these magazines now, we're really getting into some awesome stuff. Late 80s was great, but I love it now because now you're starting to get the prime years of the NES and the 16-bit stuff coming in. This is when it gets really good. That's Golden Axe for Master. Castlevania's on NES. The others are on the NES too. You
You,
played all these, obviously.
yeah. Do you miss that excitement for a new console?
Yep.
I feel
Oh yeah.
like since like the PS3 and 360 and afterwards, I don't have that excitement for a new console. Like, I always buy them and I'm like, yeah, it's cool, but like they don't seem as thrilling as it used to be or like as big as advancements.
The advancements seem less and less. Yeah, aesthetically, they don't look great. They're boring to look at. That was the one thing we were talking about. They're just kind of very boring. Um, Two last memories I have, one being the Dreamcast coming out on 9/9/1999 was a
Mhm.
huge release. And then when you and I worked at EB, we got the 360 demo unit in. That was another big day. Because we got to play King Kong, Cameo, and Call of Duty 2.
I was gonna say it's all coming around. We played King Kong on the, the 360, and you play King Kong now. 360 version's way better.
360 one's way better, and that one sucks. um, yeah, but playing that kiosk with those three games, Cameo and Call of Duty in particular were gorgeous. And I was like, wow, there's such a difference between PS2 and this. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's exciting. When the PS5 and the Series X came out, I mean, even in the cases, I mean, PS5 changed from blue to white, but the Xbox is so lazy. Like their games, if you have like Xbox One and Series X games, you can't even tell the difference. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's no difference now. Like, and there's some benefits of that. Like, at least you can play it between, like, it's cross platform, right? But
Yeah.
they definitely just like, yeah, we'll just release it in the same case and just add a little bit.
Turbo Graphics. This is Moto something. What is this one? Moto Rotor. I remember this one. This is a top down, kind of a little bit RC Pro Amish.
Oh, you ever played
Pretty
that one?
pretty pretty mid tier.
Yeah.
Genesis Air Diver.
That looks wicked. Like that
Yeah,
screenshot, like if back in the day, if I saw that, I'd be like, I want that.
yeah. And this is Truxton, which was a top down shooter, which was great. Game Boy, kicking butt. I think was that R Type. Oh,
Gradius.
Gradius. Yeah, that's awesome. And then, dude, then look at the bottom. Look at the arcades. Look at the difference. Oh,
So
So
good.
good.
Is that R-Type at the bottom? Yeah, that's R-Type, right? Nope, that's Gradius 3. Oh, and R-Type 2.
Yep.
Yeah,
Just
like, arcades were just, like, so still far advanced compared to consoles.
I loved it. I would say for me, the sweet spot was when Super and Genesis, and when we got Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo, Mortal Kombat came home, but it just wasn't quite as good as the arcade. That was the sweet spot because you could practice those games at home and then go play in the arcade, and it was just that much better. But you could still play it, but there was still a reason to go to the arcade. Makes
Yeah,
sense? You know what I mean?
exactly. The arcade gave you more of a, like, an experience, right? Like, just
It
being
did.
in that
It did.
everything, like, even the arcade cabinets themselves, especially when they started becoming more diverse, like, um, well, like, Pod Racer is the biggest example I always think of, right? Like, you can play Pod Racer at home, but when you go to the arcade and you play Pod Racer and you're actually sitting in it and moving, like, the controls and stuff, man, just you felt on another level.
And there's something about the just the ambiance of an arcade too, because there's all the lights, the bells and whistles of other games. Just being in that environment, it's really like charges you up. It's like a casino, right? It's just exciting to be there
Yeah, except for they didn't pump fresh air in there. It was just the stale smell of
to keep you awake, and they didn't
there you
hide the
go.
clocks. Pick a fight. Oh, look at this. We have is it a 7800 ad. Oh my god.
Remember how to say that word?
No. I was looking at the boxes. I didn't know if this was an Atari ad, but it's specifically a Atari 7800 ad. I never had this console. I still don't have this.
Hmm,
7800. I've never owned it.
surprised. There we go.
Xenophobia, whatever. Rampage and whatever that one is. I don't know what that is.
Something dragon? Red? No, I don't know.
Oh, the
Panda?
Double Dragon. I've never heard of this Double Dragon.
Huh.
And Activision
That
put it out. Interesting.
cover
Commando.
looks weird.
I never knew that there was a port of Commando on the 7800. Well, look at the controllers. Oof.
Those things are
That's
brutal.
rough. That's rough, dude. Like, and I mean, this was technically a competitor to the NES and the Master System. It's funny because I never talk about this system because it literally had zero impact. Like, zero.
Yeah, you never hear anybody talk about the 7800. It's always the 2600.
There was the 5200 before it. No one talks about that.
No.
Yeah. I would say overall, Atari is very important for home video game consoles within the history, but they're pretty bad. I'm just going to be blunt with everybody. Like the 2600 is pretty rough. It's a
Yeah.
pretty rough console. Oh, this is one of our Game Mania little places. The Batman posters, we all remember this. We're getting to Batman, but these are fun. Just seeing these ads for these game stores that may or may not be around. There's the phone number, everyone, if you want to call.
Yeah, this is in the last magazine because we were talking about the Batman poster.
I wonder if they still have any of those Batman posters in stock. I'm going to call. 3-page spread. 4-page spread.
I was looking at the number because we've been going longer. I feel like this is the longest episode we've gone for this so far. There's a lot of pages in this magazine. It's almost a book.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Othello, we're gonna get to it. Mega Play is in here.
Oh, because it has the Mega Play. That's probably why it's so big.
Retro Mags is where we get the PDFs for this. They're just an awesome site. They were kind enough to put the Mega Play in here. I love how they put premiere issue $1.99, but they give it to you for free anyway in the magazine. They're just prepping you for if you want future content. This is all dedicated to Sega. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this here, but
what is that controller down the bottom?
That's the arcade stick. It's just a bad
Oh, yeah, that's a weird angle to take that in.
So the little tiny ball in the center is the actual stick. It's just because of the way it's shot. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, that thing was heavy, dude. It had a metal bottom, which was pretty good, but the bright future in store for Genesis games and peripherals in 1990. Look at these wonderful, beautiful, colorful games. Zoom, which was a great I think it was like Clax, similar to that. Super Hang On, Fantasy Star 2. TJ says, interesting fact, the NES shared the same processor chip as the Commodore 64 based on the C502 chipset made by MOS owned by Commodore.
Interesting.
Wow. That is interesting, dude. I had no idea. Very interesting. Master System. And yeah, we are going a little long here, so we're gonna just skim through Mega Play, which is a shame because this. Oh, look at these maps for Ghouls and Ghosts. So gorgeous. I love it.
Oh, there's Loki again. Oh, Bonk. Oh no, that's not Bonk.
No, that's Kung Fu Heroes. Yeah.
Huh.
There it is. Kung Fu
Like
Heroes
the look of that though.
for NES. You like that, eh?
Is that done?
Does it? It kind of looks like Baby Dragon Ball Z, kind of.
That's what I was thinking. I was
Yeah.
curious if Akira Toriyama did any work on this, but I don't see his name.
This might have been an anime turned into a game.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
maybe. That art style is very it's very akin to his work. He's a creator of like Dragon Ball, and he's done a lot of work for the Dragon Quest series as well too. He has a very distinctive art that's like only used by him for the most part.
Yeah, look it up after. It might very well be, man, because it does look. I mean, that's the first thing I thought of was Dragon Ball. Flying Dragon. Shinobi Goes 16-bit on the Genesis. This game was fantastic. And fun fact, the first printings of this were pulled because Sega put Spider-Man and Batman in this game as bosses. It was a big no-no.
Wow.
So yeah, they had to. I mean, they weren't called Spider-Man and Batman, but they looked like them. I wonder if it'll show it in this. Then look at this guy. Look at that boss. Who's that? Sega, what are you doing, man?
Gary Zilla.
They're just taking in whatever they want. We'll take in a little bit of everything. I wonder if he's in here. No, he's not.
Is that Blade? Who's the other guy? Is that
this guy?
No. It looked like the Terminator almost. It looks like Arnold.
Dude, it probably is. It's every like pop culture thing that was relevant at the time.
Yeah, see, that looks like Arnold at the bottom down there.
Yeah. Forgotten Worlds, fantastic shooter.
Oh, this is a different game now.
Yeah. I encourage everyone to check it out. This is a wonderful game on the Genesis. Just look at it. Oh, so beautiful. Yeah, you could go into these shops here and upgrade your gun. Pick up, like, you had options. So you had little robots that would fly beside you and you could change what you wanted those guys to shoot, like flames or lasers.
It kind of makes me think of like ActRaiser a bit.
ActRaiser. Well, it's a shooter. The thing with this game is your guys are flying, right? It's hard to tell with the screenshots, but there's no ground really. You're always floating, and then you would go from 2D side scrolling to top down, like it would switch up.
Huh.
Godzilla's half brother, Gregzilla. Greg was always jealous that his brother's named God. That's good.
Poor Greg.
There's your Rambo. What? Clarence
like
Boddicker?
actual like
he's in this movie? I didn't know that.
I don't know if I've ever watched Rambo 3.
Yeah, some digitization. There's your 70s show Rambo or / RoboCop bad guy. Blow the Soviet pinkos away. What? How does that even mean? I don't know what that means.
Knife bow bomb.
This game looks fun. It looks like Commando by Capcom. It looks like a beefed up version of Commando.
Something about these games are just fun. Just like running around shooting stuff.
Mystic Defender. We talked about that last. Spellcaster, I believe, was the one before this. This is the one that's more heavily on action. This game is a lot of fun and one that doesn't get talked about a lot. Mega Play. That was Mega Play. Tricks of the Trade. We'll skim through this. Ghouls and Ghosts start at any level. Very helpful. 63 men. Trick for Double Dragon. RoboCop special continues. Legendary Axe secret continues.
I feel like Bad Dude should have had 69 men trick.
You guys got to remember too, like getting extra continues and lives was so like important to like your childhood and the future of your weekend. I'm just telling you right now. Like, if you could do any of these tricks and pull off a few extra men for yourself, you're gold.
I miss those days. They don't do those in video games anymore. Like actual like sitting like hitting codes. Like having to
Yeah,
do button combinations to do like, unlock something. I miss those days.
me too. The friggin' crow had one life, and you're dead, and then you have to start from the beginning again. Oh,
Which is weird because I don't know much about the crow, but isn't the crow immortal? Isn't that like the whole point of the crow? Like
I think
crow,
so.
like the body that he harbors, like is supposed to be like immortal, but if the crow that like has his essence is killed, then he like loses it.
I think so. Yeah, it makes no sense. And the crow is also a superhero, and he's also like a martial arts expert. But the
Yeah.
crow in that game moves worse than a stick man. It's terrible. This is kind of cool. Legendary Axe defeat the terrible Jagu. Jagu is one of the toughest bosses to ever come along. To defeat him easily, however, get 2 wings, the fast axe, and instead of trying to build up power and hit Jagu with large bursts, do rapid fire attacks. That's cool. So that's like an editor trick or tip, right? Instead of like a code you'd push in, this is just kind of giving you a strat for it.
Yeah.
I like that. The coolest codes I've seen is using the cell phones in GTA 5. Is that for like to cut down your wanted level and stuff like that? Is that what you mean? I don't think I've used any codes for that one. I used a code in GTA Vice City and I ruined the game. Because if you use a code in GTA 5 and then you save it, you can't 100% the game.
Huh.
Yeah. Rockstar just gives you the old screw job there. Oh boy. I'm hoping, like, I don't know, did Bijou survive the 90s?
I don't
Survive
know.
the 80s and make it into the 90s? Let's hope.
I haven't seen it. I don't think we saw a Bishu ad in the last one either, though.
I know. Getting nervous. Some more tricks for Dragon Spirit, some Game Boy stuff. Blazing Lasers. You can now play even more difficult versions of Blazing Lasers. I'm good. I think the standard difficulty is fine.
The difficulty levels are amazing, though. Like those names: Normal Dog, Hard Human, Super Mania, God of Game.
God of Game. Yeah, I mean, and you feel like a god in that game too. If you power up, like it's just like you don't even have to move. Your spread fire is like the whole screen. It's so great, that game. The crow is only immortal if the bird survives. If the
Okay,
physical
yeah,
crow takes damage, the hero loses. Ah,
that's right. Yeah, so I
that's
was
right.
right
Because
on
don't
that.
they attack the crow in the first one, right? Like the actual bird, or they kill it or something? I don't remember. I believe you, Matt. I just don't remember.
That's how I thought it worked. So that makes it even weirder that in the game, like you die.
See, dude, you start. Your guy shuffles when he moves. Okay, so it's so slow, and you can't connect. You can't lock on to anybody. So fighting is brutal, and you get so far, and then you just die. One man, that's it, and then you start again. It's brutal. More
Some of
tips and
those
tricks.
PS1 games, they're really hard to go back to, and I feel like the
Yep.
PS1 games when they're bad, like there's a lot of bad NES and Super Nintendo games and stuff, but the early 3D games when they're bad, they're real bad, like almost unplayable bad.
I've often talked about Twisted Metal and how much I'm a fan of 1 and 2, even though it's ported over onto the PlayStation Plus Premium. You can't do it, man. The frame rate is so bad. You
Yeah,
just
like
can't.
there's
Can't.
something about that era. It's hard to go back to even today. Like, I can tolerate, like, slower paced games like Resident Evil and stuff, but yeah, like,
Yeah.
faster paced games like that or, if you try to go play back, like, Wipeout and stuff, like, you remember Wipeout? It was, like, that futuristic driving 3D.
Or dude, boot up Shadows of the Empire on 64. Boom.
Yeah. Oh my god. They're so hard to play. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Okay, I'm hoping this is Bijou because they're making fun of the old Atari style controller. Child's Play and oh boy.
Here it comes.
Ta-da.
The build up for that is great.
That was good. That's a good ad. A 3-page. So that would have had a gatefold. That's awesome. Let's just do that again. Child's Play. I remember this. Wow. The Mattel Power Glove. Oh, it's a floor spreader. Yeah, it would have been a gatefold. That's great. Future play. Never played that game.
I tried it. It never worked for me.
Yeah.
Because you had to like grab or hit the ball. No, you could grab the ball and like throw it back, but it would never like my hands would never actually grasp it. It would always just like hit off of it.
Mo will take the joystick. I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you. More cheat codes. We're still going on about it.
I feel like we're seeing the same games brought out again. Like we're talking about Dragon Spirit again. They mentioned
We're getting
Binding of
different
Isaac.
codes for the same games. Yeah.
Why didn't they just put
Tommy
them all
Lasorda
together?
baseball. Wow.
Top secret. Okay, here we go. This is what we've been waiting for. It's the
Here's the
main
cover.
event.
Only 2 hours in, we got to Batman. The Dark Knight wages war on the Joker and Batman the video game. So it's based on the movie, but Batman looks more like the Frank Miller Batman. He's big, bulky, and he's blue. Now, I know this game has some funky colors. It's part of the art style, but it's a weird kind of mishmash of the movie and what I think looks like the Frank Miller Batman. I don't know. What do you think?
I'd agree with that. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit more cartoony vibes than you would expect. Doesn't he also
Yeah.
get like he changes suits in this one too, right? Like he gets a purple suit later. Is that what I'm remembering? I thought there was a color change in it.
In the game?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Dale says, really enjoying the morning show, Jay. And while morning coffee could be a little long, you're enjoying talking about the magazine. Oh, well, we don't really have a time limit, Dale. We kind of just all of our shows, we kind of just go where they go. Yeah. Yeah.
I do remember really liking this game, but it was hard as hell. Like it's on Ninja Gaiden levels of being hard.
It's difficult. Yeah. The Batman game first for the Genesis by Sunsoft, 100% looks like the movie. But I mean the Batmobiles even, that's the Keaton Batmobile. So it's just a nice mix. But this game is great. There's the Nicholson Joker. Yeah, so just Batman kind of doesn't really look like Michael Keaton too much, but that's okay. Doesn't take anything away from the game.
I think for what they could have done though, like it works out. And I understand, like, if they made him like a darker color, like more black and like a little bit more serious looking, it probably would have made it harder for him to be seen with the backdrops.
Yeah, I mean his colors kind of look like he's in shadow, so it might be just the limitations of the NES at the time. When you reach the end of the 5th level, you'll come face to face with the Joker himself. The Joker isn't kidding around either. When you confront the master criminal on the Gotham in the Bell Tower, he'll brandish a long pistol with incredible destructive power. Help Batman exact revenge on the murderer of his parents and clean up Gotham City. Yeah, did you ever beat Batman?
I actually, to this day, have not. No.
My one friend did. I watched him do it. I could never do it, but I never owned it back when it came out. So,
well,
but
if
it
you
was
want to
hard.
go back, have a stream.
Yeah, you can go back. You can always go back, buddy.
Take me back.
Would have been funny if they introduced other bat suits as upgrades and have the movie suit be the ultimate suit. Yeah, I feel like they were probably pushing it with the limitations of the NES already.
Yeah.
But that being said, I mean that would be a good idea. This game was so big, and this movie releasing was still, of all the movies being released, I mean the Phantom Menace was huge. It was a huge experience. I remember Force Awakens was big. This one is right up there. Like the release of this Batman was, everybody was wearing Batman shirts. Everybody was talking about Batman. And this one really revived superheroes. And because of this, it really got me into comic books a lot more. I remember that too.
I could see that. I was still a little young for this, but I do remember this movie. They scared the crap out of me. They were very dark.
Oh yeah. When he messes up the model, remember he
Yeah.
makes her like human art. It's like, oof, God, it's pretty dark, dude. Your main character is Vicky Vale. Kim Basinger, I love you wherever you are. I know you're out there still. I miss you. Call me. Just kidding. Nicholson and then Keaton. Yeah, here's all the levels. All very industrial, all very dark. Great game, guys. Check it out.
Can you go back that for a sec?
Yep.
Do you notice? Okay, so it says Batman. Vicky Vale is trademarked, and then the Joker.
Well, maybe Batman and Joker are such big names. They've already been trademarked. Vicky Vale. I don't know in terms of Batman lore, but maybe Vicky Vale was a character created for the movie.
Maybe, but why would they have to put like TM beside? I don't understand that. That just
Yeah.
I just see that initially. I'm like, why?
Why is she trademarked? Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody know in chat, was Vicky Vale in the comic book or in any of the cartoons? I don't remember ever seeing her before the movie, but Turbo Champ. So this is just upcoming Turbo games that are coming out. I think. Yep. This is actual
I want to
Turbo.
find that joystick. I would love to have that joystick.
Yeah, it's nice. The Turbo Booster. Do you remember what that did?
I don't.
The audio and video enhancer worked with your stereo TV or mono TV. Always give you better sound. Yeah, this attached here. So I don't think you can have the CD-ROM and the Turbo Booster at the same time. I want this just for like to have.
Huh.
It's cool, Turbo Booster. And then there's the 4-player thing, the Turbo Tap.
I have that. I have a
Yeah.
Turbo Tap. I have 4 controllers and the Turbo still.
4 controllers. Wow. Those are worth a lot, man. Each controller is worth a lot. That's cool. All these games, perfect games. I love them. China Warrior, not that great. Basically like Kung Fu. It plays like Kung Fu. The only difference being your characters are huge.
Yeah, look at those sprites.
Yeah. Your guy obviously is a Bruce Lee ripoff. I don't know. It's very mid. Matt says Vicky Vale debuted in 1948.
Oh, there you go. So why would they have to trademark it? That's messed up. I don't know.
Strange why they trademark Vicky Vale. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this game, I don't know. This game looks a lot more impressive than it is. Trust me on that one. Galaga 90, we've already kind of gone into that.
Oh, Galaga.
Galaga. What was the other way you say it? Galaga and
Galaga.
Galaga.
Galaxy. So it's Galaxy is how I would think it would
Gotcha.
related to. So Galaga.
I don't know about
Galaga
you,
sounds more fun though.
I'm pretty impressed with the Dynasty store little logo there. Dynasty, don't miss out. It's hot. What? Oh, it's hot. Like, oh, this is all stolen. Oh my god, that's why it's in such small printing.
That logo is actually pretty sweet though. It definitely makes me think like an old-timey store.
But dude, don't miss out. It's hot. Does not sound like it.
Well, that's like again, like that's that old terminology. They didn't use it the way that it's used now, right?
Yeah. We just empty out UPS trucks, and that's our that's our stock for the week. Oh, yes!
Bishu! You live!
You live to the 90s. Congratulations.
Welcome to the future.
Oh, thank God.
Thought I'd never see the Zoomer again.
What was that? Oh, the Zoomer. Okay, I'm telling you right now, dude. Just for the collection, for your collection, for my collection, we gotta buy one of these. We have to. I want one just because we've talked about this brand so much. I mean, I'm not gonna pay money for them.
Holy heck! I'm just looking on eBay. A Zoomer is like roughly $80 to $100.
I can't. Oh, come on now. Come on now. What? Oh, look up the. What about the Jazz Stick? It's like a lefty. So if you're a lefty,
Jazz Stick.
The Bishu Jazz Stick.
eBay. Nothing. Oh, there's one. $25 US.
There. See that's a little more stomach. I can stomach that a little bit more, I should say. The Zinger, the Hots. Oh, I like the hot stuff, I think. It was the hot pink one. The Viper.
You don't want to get the ultimate super stick?
I think I think I would be with you with the Zoomer because it's so ridiculous and the name is terrible. I think I would have to do the Zoomer, but I don't want to pay $80 for it. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Ultimate super stick. Let's see here.
Game Boy Club. We're going into the pinball. We talked about already. Boxel's a fun game. Motocross Maniacs. Fantastic. I wish this game would be on the Game Boy, the virtual Game Boy. What's that called on the Switch? What is that called? Is the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo? You can play the emulated games on the Switch. What would you call that?
Oh, they do have a name for it. I haven't used that. It's just like it's a collection.
I'm paying for that too. We were talking about this earlier about cutting back, Will and I, before we started going live. I'm subscribed to all three of those, man. And I'm going to put a stop to that. I'm with you, Will. I'm stopping that because I don't really use that. I use Game Pass a little bit more, but the other two I don't really use that much.
The thing is, like, you get into such like you forget about it, right? So you're subscribed because it renews every month, and you don't use it every month. At least I never did. Like my PlayStation and Xbox ones before I canceled them, I would use them every like 2 or 3 months because I still buy games.
Yeah.
And so even if it's on Game Pass, like if I'm interested in a title, I will go and buy it. So like my Game Pass subscription would just sit there unused for months until something popped up.
I blame you. You got me hooked on the Game Pass.
I just said it was a cheaper way to do it if you use it regularly.
Hi, Diddle.
Hi, Diddle.
High scores. Again, long before there was Twin Galaxies. No, Twin Galaxies was around. What am I saying? I was
going to say they would have existed back then.
This was a competitor to Twin Galaxies. And again, I guess for this one, for EGM, you just had to show a Polaroid or maybe just write in and say, hey, on Gyrus, I got 200,000. They're like, okay, that sounds fair.
Did it. Oh, my God.
Yeah, what is, I don't even, oh, this is a store.
Jeez. That hurts my eyes.
POW, Tecmo World Wrestling. And that is it.
We did it. Another magazine covered.
They're definitely getting bigger. Well, we had that mega play in the middle, right? So that was a little
that extended it a bit. That was fun.
That was fun. You gotta work in 2 hours, buddy. So we better let you go. Guys, check out Will. He's streaming at 2:00. I'll let you plug your own stuff. Go ahead.
No, you don't want to do it for me? Gosh. Yeah, you catch me here live on YouTube and Twitch since they lifted up that restriction on multi-streaming stuff. So yeah, every Sunday I stream at 2 p.m. We're gonna be playing some Spider-Man today because I want to get through that, and then yeah, you can catch me through the week over on both channels, all under WillyLo.
Yeah. Normally I'd be done for the week, but I might stream as well just because I want to be just like Willie. But I'm getting a hankering to play some Spider-Man as well, so I might be streaming that as well. I don't know, maybe later tonight. We'll see. But guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Thanks for chilling on a Sunday morning. We always love this. We're gonna put a poll up for You're Good next week.
Yep.
We're gonna put a poll up for next week because guess what time it is, Will?
I forgot about it. I don't want
Yeah. It's time to watch another video game movie. Oh, so we'll put a poll up. I'll put like 4 or 5 options, and we'll close it off by maybe Tuesday because we want to have time to get the movie.
Yeah. I would say if you want, you can put that Five Nights at Freddy's on there. If people do vote for that, I think Thursday is the last day at the local theaters here that have it playing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that too. We'll put that up. We'll throw it up on the channel here. But you guys know where to find me Thursday through Sunday, starting at 10 a.m. And thank you so much, guys. That's it. Enjoy your Sunday. We'll see you on the next stream.